Learning. Brought to you by Kind Bar.
Yeah, Kind Bars. Brought to you by snacks.
Just yeah, like snack attacks. And
Just snacks.
Stuff in your mouth.
You don't get the experience of ollieing gaps, you just don't understand what ollie really means.
So, the simplest thing I've been thinking about recently works. And I'll talk about it at some point.
So, not too bad, not too bad.
You know?
I think the worst thing about it right now is that you gotta get you gotta get used to that impact through experience.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because I do flat ground all day.
If you don't get the experience of ollieing gaps, you just don't understand what ollie really means until you ollie off of something and you're like, wait, there's more than just jumping.
Oh yeah.
Way more than just jumping.
Yeah, because I can do at least 10 kick flips, flat ground in a row, and then take 50 tries to land one.
Off a stair set.
Or even off of something this high.
Yeah, even 2 sets. I mean, it's all about impact, learning that experience.
Forever learning, yeah.
And forever learning that need to have every bit of the technique understood and mastered by the time you get good at it.
Yeah, always being better than you were the day before.
Yeah, exactly.
Not
competing with others, but competing with yourself is the best way to build yourself up. I always look at my hero Goku that way, you know. He's not here to challenge everyone in the world. He's just here to make himself better at what he does.
Yeah. All right, let's see if I can.
Because it was a solid ollie. Yeah. The impact's what went out of control. Let's get this.
I jump a lot. I just need to figure out how to do the quick little hop. A little more control, right?
Yeah, and really what it's about, from my experience, is that when you jump, you can't just stay in the ball. You got to extend yourself a little bit, just so that when you hit the ground, you can compress again. If you can't compress, you're just going to get shifted anywhere.
Have to lower the landing gear at some point.
Yes, exactly. Otherwise, what happens is you land too small, and then your wheels go one way, and you have to follow the board wherever it goes, instead of telling it where you're going to command it.
You know why I do it? Is because I'm constantly thinking about all the times that I've cracked the board. So I've been working really hard at not doing that.
And that's why they say bolts. Bolts is the keys. If you can get your feet back to the bolts, you have a lot less chance of breaking a board or snapping or cracking and that stuff.
And these days my feet are definitely returning to the bolts a lot more frequently.
And quicker too. You've got a lot more technique because of what we're going to be talking about today. So here's what we're going to do right now. We're going to do another ollie, and we're going to try to land this one with good impact, because we're forever learning continuously, non-stop. Okay. That's all right. I mean, you slip out every once in a while.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just leaning back too much. I know what it is that I'm doing.
I mean, and again, that's another statement. If you land too far back and you have too much pressure in the back weight, you're going to slip out. Obviously, if you do in the front, you're going to fall forward. So that's where it's like you got to be above the board and directly down pressure as you're landing. You can't let the board be too far in front of you like a boned ollie, and you can't leave it behind like you just kind of over skipped it, like if you're about to go into do a tuck knee or something. You got to be solid all the way through the form. But most importantly, you're not thinking about the ollie, you're thinking about the landing, because that's the most abrasive part about the whole entire experience. Once you lift the ground, when you snap and lift off the ground, you're floating. It's airless, you know, you're just in the air. But as soon as you hit that ground, the impact can make a lot of difference in how you roll away. Keeping the shoulders straight as well is another great key on that. You cannot open up while you're doing it, otherwise you're turning into a 180.
Yeah.
Nice. Now another thing I also notice sometimes is when you do ollie, you do have that shifty to it. And that's because when you ollie, you kind of have to open yourself up again with your shoulder blades to kind of give yourself that snap point, but you don't bring yourself back to that point, so you start to go sideways, shifted. Let's see if I can get on here as well. Let's go ahead and extend the GoPro. It's okay if it gets hit. No one's going to be worried about that. But just for support's sake, I'll do a couple ollies with him to see what they look like in comparison. What? All right, technically that was like an ollie south, but he rolled away, and that's the most important part. And that's what we're trying to say here. We're always learning something different as we continue to build our base and learn what we're doing today on Forever Learning with my main man Carrie here. We are learning that we are going to do ollie. We're going to start with the basics. We're going to do ollies. We're going to take it to the course from the flat ground and now all the way to getting yourself to jump down gaps and stairs. Very important to get your ollie in, because that's the base of almost all tricks we're going to go for the future. learning to do. So we'll do a couple ollies again here over the stair set, and then we're going to take it down to a lower base from the beginning and talk about technique of foot placement and weight distribution and everything you need to know to learn the ollie first. Then you can take it to the big stuff on the big course and then to the streets itself. So let's just do a couple more ollies and see what we can get. And honestly, whenever I approach a stair set, I always talk about gaps in stair sets. It's always broken down into an A, B, C system, and I'm only worried about getting from point A to point C. Speed is a great factor. It helps a lot with the initial land and the push forward. If you're going fast enough, you won't get stopped. You won't get stuck in your ways coming down in the impact. But overall, I try to make sure that when I jump, I'm staying loose, because as soon as I hit the impact, I got to be impactful but stand myself back up. So the first thing I do is I take the impact and I stand right back up and control the board itself. I can't stay in the ball, neither in the air or when I land, because then once the board goes whatever way it is, I'm pretty much going for the ride. Let's try one more just in case. Just continuously smoothing myself down. I'm trying not to open my shoulders and close my shoulders when I jump. I'm just jumping straight up, straight down. And I mean, a lot of the time the technique isn't so much about a high ollie as it is a confident ollie. A lot of people think that you got to go really fast or jump really high, like you're trying to jump over 3 decks to get that first. No, we're trying to take as little amount of height out of it, because the more higher you jump, the more impact there's going to be. And you want to be efficient with your jump,
exactly,
right?
So use less energy.
So if there's anything you're going to practice, it's not about jumping off of big things. It's about jumping so quickly that your ollie is confidently in the right position, no matter how fast you're going, and you're just floating it the rest of the way. And like I try to say, every flip trick you do after this, it's a variation of ollie. Because once you get the flip to happen and you're back on your feet, no matter which way the deck is facing, you're in an ollie position. You're just learning to ollie over everything with a variation. So key thing is if you can learn how to ollie over something, the variation is just a fun way to make it look fancier. Whether it be a 3 flip, an ollie flip, all that fun stuff. But honestly, the ollie is very important to learn right off the back. One of the hardest things too for young cats to learn, especially if your body's this big and the board's this tall. It's really hard to get around that. But there's some techniques I think me and Carrie can come up with that we could show you, some techniques and some tips. Anyone could learn to ollie from the ages of 0 to 100, I promise. We can get some techniques in here and really show how you capitalize that. Do you want to continue to try a couple more ollies over here just to make sure? Or should we go right into the basics of what you should learn?
I think we should go into the feet placement.
Yeah,
and all of that good stuff.
I mean, that's the
get
start.
Some close-ups on it.
Yeah, let's go over to the mani pads. There'll be a nice little area to take care of that. Yes, here at the Skate Academy, the lovely skate park here in Ypsilanti, Michigan. We do have lots of good room, lots of great places to practice and stuff. Fun cats all around, always discussing knowledge, always sharing tips and tricks. And again, like I said, we're doing this experiment thing. My friend Carrie here, he's had a great idea. It's called the Forever Learning. We're always learning. You know, I've been skating since I was 11. I'm 40 years old, and ollie is pretty much a trick I learned eventually, and then I got good at it. Then I felt confident wherever I went and took it to. That's what I would do. But honestly, I still have days I miss ollies, so I'm not perfect. So I am forever learning, and that's the greatest thing about this series. I think that he came up with was genius. First of all, is that there's no mistakes worth not talking about. And as we continue to work with this program, we'll have abilities to take everyone to the next level, whatever trick you're stuck on in your point of life, your career of skateboarding, and take it to the next level.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about that. Let's talk about the foot positions that are needed to do a great ollie. A few things we've heard in rumors since is that you need a good low base, a tight stance, and lots of area space to be able to pop that ollie right. So what I'm saying is a lot of people get on their board and they think what you got to do is get in your board, maybe halfway in the middle, because you want to get a good enough distance up here. They'll have their feet real tight here. They'll get really, really low and compact, and they'll expect themselves to jump 50 feet in the air. Problem with that is there's a lot of technique problems that we see as skateboarders. It doesn't always work for everybody, but it can. But what we see here right off the back is that if we're going to start from the middle, it's going to take us longer to travel our foot all the way up to the nose, where we're going to need that catch. So if it's going to take that much time, you can't do a quick enough ollie.
Not only that, but when you crouch that low, you're using a lot of energy to extend back up.
It's kind of like holding something for a very long time out away from your body. Eventually your arms will start to shake, then they start to get tired and you start to droop. This is because you're using too much energy already. Where if you had it close to your body or at a 90-degree angle, your arms provide a support difference.
Yeah,
so
because you should not be exhausted trying to do just a couple ollies.
And another thing I learned too, when people do that compression lowerness, is they're taking away their maximum height. If I'm standing still, my shoulders are this high, okay? And if I bend down and leave where my hands were and I'm this low, my maximum height we think would be here. But by the time I start to lift and jump, my pop already happened to be this. So I only got that much here. But where if I'm standing up and I bring my knees to my chest with the board actually with it, well then now where my legs are is the height of where my ollie can be.
Yeah.
And that's a very important step as well.
That's one of those things that I've been working on a lot recently, because I have a bad habit of dipping super low, thinking that, yeah, I'm gonna get more height out of it.
Right.
And there's a sweet spot.
There is.
But if you dip too low,
there's also that technique too about where you use your ollie for what. When you're jumping down stair sets or gaps, we don't need a high ollie like I said before. We want a nice, consistent, small ollie, something that would be like this. That's it.
Control.
Because all I'm doing is floating down. Whereas I'm trying to jump off a ramp over a bunch of decks, I want to curl my body up as tight as I can to get them over that deck. But I may want to spring down a little harder to bring that inertia whoosh.
Yeah.
Because it gives it that coil spring to it when you pop, than just snapping from one point.
Yeah.
So there's a difference again. There's a difference between when I want to jump over something and when I want to jump down something, or if I'm just jumping from gap to gap flat, you know? So speed and height and power could matter depending on which thing you're going to use your ollie for. Again, precision for foot, I honestly always go with the 4-bolt system. I made this up for my YouTube. We got 4 bolts in front of us and we want to see 2 of them by the time we land. So if I'm going to be way back here and I only make it this distance, I still see 4 bolts. But if my foot's right here against the 4 bolts and I slide my foot and land back here, that's not a distance I have to worry about. It's almost as if I'm bending my ankle distance. And that quickness makes a difference compared to you. And then believe me, your shoes are going to be gone weeks from now if you just drag your feet up all the time up this grip tape, where a quick drag will not be as damaging and is right to the point of what we're trying to get to.
Absolutely, and it returns your feet to the bolts a little bit.
That's where we want to land, because otherwise if you land back here on accident, because you slide it up and bring it back, you're going to focus your board all the time.
Yeah.
You're going to see non-stop broken tails.
That's what I used to do.
You're going to see all the time broken boards. And you're going to have these problems where you got to keep spending money to just even get the basic tricks down. We don't want that. We want you to be efficient to where every time you do a trick, you just feel comfortable doing it. It's nature to you. It's second nature. And so that technique comes from, again, having your toes right next to the bolt. Cut the middleman out is what I would say. Just get to the point. And all we're trying to do is get that little... And even if it doesn't land 100% on the bolts, or you don't see all bolts, or you see only 4 bolts still, within this pocket, about this gap where the bolts are, that's the strongest point of your deck, because all the vibration of you landing will go through your base plate and into your trucks and outwards. But if you put it right here in the middle, the wood will take the wood, and wood cracks through the layers. You know, just like a karate mark. So we don't want that. So we try to keep it more closer to the trucks, so that we can land back on the trucks again once we are popping the initial ollie. Other than that, a lot of places where you put your feet just depends on your weight distribution and your style, your need for how much height you're trying to get, and just your comfortability. Some people, they can get really tippy on their toes and still get it down. I got a little gap here, you can see it from my toes to here. My foot's on here. I'm just using the ball of my foot here. I'm not using the heel, and you can still pop a pretty good ollie. Some people, they might have their toes kind of hanging off here, just for that extra heel-toe carvability. And they'll have their foot more in the pocket, in the cove of this, so that when they pop, it's more of a scoop and not so much a tap.
Let's let's focus on that a little bit.
Sure.
How would you say someone develops their pop?
Well, again, 3 things I've always said. first thing I want to do is be comfortable and confident in what I'm doing. So the thing I usually do is start off in the grass, because you can't get hurt falling on the grass. You will not get the same pop you will on concrete, but it's safer than, you know, slipping out and falling to your head or your elbow or something of that nature. So the first place I start is in the grass. And again, you'll practice these different modes. You have the option to choose to be the guy who skates with his toes here or his foot here, or whatever it is. But overall, you do want to cover inside the tail. And again, like I said, mostly close to the bolts. The idea again is to bend down and destroy that initial like height you get, is to bring your knees to your chest. Okay, so again, if you're looking like this, you're not gonna get a pop. You're gonna have to struggle getting back up.
I see that a lot here with kids and older cats learning how to do it.
Don't quite understand how this ship, and that's where you get those rocket ship ollies from.
Yep.
Where if you learn to get your knees to pop initially to your chest, you're creating that ollie from there. You're not destroying your base. You haven't turned your shoulders. You're not in a weird curled up ball. You have created the ollie. You haven't asked for it, you demanded it instead. And you got the height that you get from your knees coming to your chest. And that provides the height you need for ollieing over obstacles. Now, once you have learned that confidence, you don't feel like you're not like this and you're like losing control. I would then take a step back and find a crack in the sidewalk, and I'd place my back tires right in that crack. The way you know you did it right is you didn't go backwards, you went forwards from this crack. If you ollie and you end up here, there's a problem. If you ollie and you don't leave the crack, there's a problem. But if you can ollie and you can leap yourself out of that, you got a good ollie. It's going to continue you from doing gaps, over stuff, and whatever you may want to pursue after you learn this ollie confidently. After a couple of those good ollies out of here, the only thing left to do is take it on the course. Just start finding a spot that seems safe for you. You know, get your balance. Practice your ollies. You know, again, you need a chest. Now, once that's all good and dandy, you can start to roll with it. Again, there's a technique to it to get it to be a lot more tighter, like boned out ollies and things like this. But that's just kind of a flair. It's not necessary.
And it develops over time, like,
and it does.
like a hook with when you're bowling.
Like when you're bowling, if you got a little twist of the hand, you get a curved ball instead of just a straight ball every time. That's the little technique you'll pick up from yourself with confidence and practicing it over and over and over again. You'll know the difference. More control. And while you're at it, if you're young enough, brand new enough at it, don't just do one way. Skate switch style too.
Absolutely.
Because eventually you're gonna come to a point where you're so good at ollies, but you're not good at fakie or nollies or switch ollies. And you got kids over here winning contests with the switch ollie when you're doing 360 flips over handrails, because the switch is a little bit more textured to difficulty.
It's like writing with your offhand.
Right, exactly. Like learning how to sign a check with your left hand if you're normally using your right. So while you're uncomfortable learning this ollie already, be uncomfortable learning the switch ollie, because eventually it's going to translate to you being comfortable in all ways of translation of skateboarding.
And would you say that when you're learning them switch, like it's not in your head, like it's in your head, right? Like you kind of work the trick backwards.
It feels wrong, but that's because a lot of people take this step that I just showed you guys or gals, that you can go from grass to the crack to the sidewalk for each one of these steps and feel safe and confident. What people typically do is they get used to rolling one way, but when they roll the other way, their mind snaps and goes, I don't feel comfortable.
It's very mental.
I don't feel comfortable. My ankles don't have the same strength as they build the strength together. Build the strength together. Otherwise, what happens is you're going to build a good base one way. You're going to get very in your ways for being a goofy skater or a regular skater, and not a switch or fakie or nollie skater. And you're gonna watch yourself start to kind of beat yourself up, because you could have lots of tricks you can do in all different ways if you just now take the initiative to learn it while you can. And I'm sure, like right now for me and Carrie, we can't just go around thinking that we're gonna do nollie hard flips and nollie 360 flips all day, every day. We really have to struggle at that because we've been so used and conditioned of trying certain tricks. But Carrie knows right now.
The day I can do either one of those, I eagerly await.
I know, but Carrie knows now, right now, we all agree that this is something we really passionately want to do. We want to learn how to do nollie flips. We want to learn how to do nollie 360 flips. We want to learn how to do a switch flip. We want to learn that. But our time zone from us being young and being uncomfortable has been long past. But what we got to do now is just man up to it and go, what does it feel like when we normally do it, but reversed? That's all it really is. It's the mental block that you're allowing yourself to accept. So now that we got that kind of thing, a few tips I would give you if you do not feel confident yet on doing it on the cement, is practicing with a low ledge or maybe a bench of some sort. It really gives you the technique of what it feels like to pop that ollie without risking your body from hitting the collapse mode of falling or missing this ollie. And what I mean by that is just even this bench over here, about knee height, you know, because that's where you're starting from. You know, when you bend, this is the height you're using to bring your knees up. So what I try to do is sit down, I put my foot in the position it is, I kind of give myself a little space out because it feels a little different when you're up like this close. But basically I'm just trying to pop this simple ollie. It looks silly, it feels dumb,
but you're developing the movements
you'll
for
realize
it.
That this doesn't make sense, but this does. This kind of makes sense. And all I'm doing is standing up and then doing it too. And that's all you got to do. So give yourself a try. Give it a try. If it works out for you, great. But that's just one of the things I also talk about. It's just practicing your tricks, sitting down, you know. You can practice a kickflip, you can practice a trick. You can do all kinds of things, just sitting down, talking to your friends, and then you get up and it becomes muscle memory.
Nice.
So just in case that's something that helps you out, just in case. But of course, we always want to continue to do it by practice by the fire and making sure that we always look good. So for right now, I mean, honestly, placement of the feet is important, but weight distribution is the next thing. If you lean too much back on an ollie, you're going to watch your board go away from you. And you're going to slip out 90% of the time, even if you stay on top of that board. And if you're too much of a person who leans forward and you try to ollie, you're going to feel this moment of always collapsing. You know, so overall, when you try to do it, make sure your weight distribution when you jump isn't anywhere behind your hip or in front of your knee. Those weight distributions feel okay when you're rolling into a ledge, but when you actually pop an ollie, you want to be straight up and down, shoulders straight outwards, and you're bending down in that motion. You're not trying to meet something like this. You're not trying to lean into your knees like this. You're just going to give it a little up down. It's got to be quick because the more it's a snap, the more it's controlled.
So something that I've stumbled on is pushing off the balls of my feet. Is that something that you agree with?
So show me real quick. Let's see what you're
doing. Sure. Here, let me grab my board.
Sure.
Okay, so from what I've learned over time, is that we're the balls of our feet are the last things that leave the ground,
okay.
Right? So this technique, the ankle, right? That's where the pop comes from, is in the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
So when we're jumping, that ankle thing is already happening naturally, right?
Right.
So a lot of people, and like when I show them that technique that I'm doing, like they do all kinds of goofy stuff with their feet, and like what you're kind of trying to do is it's almost like you're double jumping, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I've been trying to develop with that, and that has helped me a lot with
very
my
important
pop.
very important thing you just brought up too about that is that when you bend down, okay, your inertia of everything of your weight is going straight into the skateboard. But when you bring your body up, it's got to be so up already that when you tap your board, the board just becomes a light piece of wood that floats in the air with you. Otherwise, if you use your whole body together, it doesn't seem to want to lift. You seem to be kind of stalled where you are instead of being someone who can pop up and get that height that you're desiring.
Mm-hmm. There's another little goofy thing that I've noticed too. So like when you push the tail down, you kind of push it back a little bit. See how the nose really wants to go up?
Yeah.
So what I've started to do is learn how to manipulate that, and so it's almost like you're pushing back a little bit as you jump.
Yeah.
So let me put some of that into demonstration.
Sure. Okay.
Okay, that was really sloppy, but
I mean, it gives a better example of what it was looking like.
yeah. Okay, that's garbage.
And that's what can happen sometimes when you open your shoulders or you push too much to one corner of the board itself. It can start to get that rotation going on. You got to kind of follow it then.
Yeah.
Nice.
That was better.
Nice.
And And the thing that I've also noticed that helps with is it helps with hang time.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. The more hang time you're looking for, the better off you want to get those knees closer to your chest in the ball. And then like you said, put your landing gear back out. Do not stay in that ball. Air time's going to be air time. You only get so much of it. But reaction time is more important. Yes. Yes. And that's something you gotta keep practicing over and over again. It's getting that nice little scoop. Now that was a variation of an Ollie. That was called a kickflip. We'll talk about that in another episode.
That's coming.
But that's what we're saying. That confident Ollie turns into those kinds of tricks because all you're doing now is taking that inertia of you pushing the regular Ollie and twisting your foot just a little bit out one pocket or just a certain way that it creates the board to rotate, or you start to rotate in a certain way from that posture. And that's just what you want to keep practicing over and over and over again. It's just that constant posture of getting down, bringing the knees up, and constantly landing that gear and rolling away. And again, like I said, I think Ollie is one of the most important tricks you're going to learn. And even though some people say it's not a trick,
I don't do them a lot. I'm so much better at flipping my board and landing back on it than I am just ollieing the board and landing back on it.
But I will be one to say I do definitely like the Ollie stuff. Big gaps, big over things, rails, whatever it may be. Just because the Ollie feels so confident, and it's one of those tricks you can take and you at least know that if you got that down, something new can come after that. You know, if you can't Ollie the gap, why are you thinking about 350?
It's like music, you know, like you need to have your bass note,
exactly.
And then like all these other movements are like different notes. You know? So like it harmonizes.
It harmonizes.
When all these parts, all these notes are in line, like you get just a really, really, really beautiful chord. You know?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. He's really showing off how good the Ollie can get.
Well, no, I'm
Kevin
showing
approves
off these
that.
techniques that I've been practicing that we are going to be talking about in this series of Forever Learning.
Yes.
Which I think is probably a good wrapping up point.
Not too bad. Now I would say 3 things we really want to make sure everyone's getting off this whole thing.
Yeah, we should definitely review some things.
Foot position is the first thing you need to work on. Again, you work on this bestly in the grass, then take it to maybe a crack in the sidewalk, and then go onto the concrete. It depends on how much confidence you have in yourself from that point when you should transition to all 3 of these stages. But honestly, it shouldn't take more than a day to get used to this. But eventually, it will take you probably a week or so to get the perfect Ollie to where you're confident every time.
I'm always trying to do this stuff better.
Every time. Just like that. Anytime you can slip back. The next thing obviously would be weight distribution. Weight distribution is very important because if you stay too heavy on the board, you don't get as much height, and you do not get that confident landing gear you need. But also very important to keep your shoulders, your arms all in play. Everything counts when you're in the air, even wind, and to constantly practice this. Once you get confident enough of jumping off the ground enough times, you don't miss it, you can start taking it down smaller gaps, across things, over little rivers, over everything, you know, whatever you'd like to do. But overall, like I said, Ollies is the most important one you're going to learn right off the bat. I'm going to do a couple more Ollies just to end out this lovely Forever thing. Let's get an Ollie over the handrail.
Yeah.
Get one over the river real quick.
Let's show some what technique really looks like. This?
Do one more just from the front end just so everybody can see that.
Yeah.
Get over that.
Yeah, let's see what years of experience looks like.
Now you'll notice everywhere you go, Ollies come in different forms and sizes. Quarter pipes are different. Little needle nose is different. Off the A-frame, the flat is different. But it's all the same concept: to launch yourself correctly, to put down your landing gear, to take the impact and roll away, and have a good day. Anything else you want to add, my friend Gary?
Nah, man, just like and subscribe.
That's a great choice. And if you have any comments, suggestions, or anything else you'd like to explain or talk about, leave it in the comments. Down below.
Tell us what you're forever learning.
And if any of these techniques helped you out and how you're doing on your Ollie, down in the comments below. All right, we're gonna take it away now, back to some more free skating and fun. Work on another episode of Forever Learning, and we'll catch you next time here at Ranger Skate Academy. Peace.